Welcome to Create, Build, Manage, the Entrepreneur's Toolbox.
Welcome to Create, Build, Manage on BizTV. I'm Kelli Phillips. Yvette Criner is with me today to talk about her extensive background in launching her own businesses and guiding others to do the same. Stick around. We'll be right back with more Create, Build, Manage. Successful business broker who started her journey at 19 with a childcare center. Now she helps clients buy and sell childcare centers while promoting opportunities for the underrepresented communities. Please welcome Yvette Criner to the set. And Yvette, I've got to ask you, childcare, when did you get into childcare?
Well, as you said, I was 19 years old. At 19, I was still trying to figure it out. I was married and I had my first child. And unlike other mothers, I was unhappy with the care that my baby was being given. Mm-hmm. I actually walked into a childcare center and she was sucking on someone else's pacifier. And
big no-no.
Big no-no. And just a germophobic. I was just like, no, I don't want to take her back. My husband was really understanding. He said, you know what? Just stay home with her. But at that time, at 19 and 93, 94, everyone was having children. Right. So I had lots of friends and family who were having children. So I said, you guys can bring them here. And
so you took care of their kids?
I took care of their kids, yes. And so for about 6 months, it was just growing and growing. And I had 12 kids in my home before I knew it. And so my husband was like, get out, go find a building. And so I went to several different places and ultimately ended up at the church. And they allowed me to rent their Sunday school space out. And that's how I got started.
So you got started in the childcare business, but you eventually got out.
I did.
Tell us about that transition and what you're doing now.
So I ultimately have never left childcare because I owned several childcare centers. And after that, what I did was I started doing training and consulting for childcare centers through a training and consulting company, Childcare Resource Services, which I founded. And once I did that, it just went on and on. I started building more clients. And during COVID, there was just so many people who were losing childcare centers. I was already finding childcare centers. I didn't know I was brokering. I was putting my clients with people who were wanting to sell and just kind of researching and wondering am I doing this right? Is there something else I'm supposed to be doing? I stumbled on business brokering and said, you know what, this is already what I'm doing. So let me further educate myself and make sure that I'm doing it properly. And so I ended up buying and selling childcare centers as part of what I was doing for my consulting firm. And I took several classes. I went through the American Business Brokers Association, became certified. I joined Transworld, which is the largest business brokerage, got great mentors there, and was able to go on.
What are some of the things that you've learned along the way?
It doesn't prepare you. Nothing prepares you. Every business is different. Mm-hmm. Every single business is different. The way that people run businesses, the owners are going to be different. What they expect from you are going to be different. But customer service is always key. Customer service is key. And if you don't know, then tell them that you don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure. Let me find out. Because as a business broker, I've learned that there's not enough training that's involved. I took a 3-day course.
That's it?
That's it. Most courses that you're going to take are going to be between 3 days and a week long. There's not a lot of information that's out there. There's only 3,000 business brokers in the United States, between 3,000 and 4,000. So there's billions of businesses in the United States. So there's not a lot of people that you can call and say, hey, what am I doing wrong? And competition is real. Mm-hmm. So you definitely can't call the competitor and say, hey, what am I doing wrong? So you have to do a lot of research and there's a lot of exploring on what you can do and can't do and just kind of stumbling upon, those trials and tribulations that I was going through just made me stronger because I had such a thirst for it. But I discovered that there wasn't many of us out there.
Well, if there's only 3,000 for all the businesses in the world,
there's
childcare has got to be really small.
Yeah. And there's a few people who have niche childcare brokerages, and I've learned from them. I call them and I talk with them sometimes. And so the challenges are the same around the board, but building a network and a community of individuals around you is important, I've learned.
Yeah. Tell us about childcare in general. I mean, there are lots of new moms out there. Like you said,
There are.
They were like you back in 93, 94, having kids, and I still have to go to work. Where do I put my kids? What should parents be looking for?
Well, there's a website called Texas Department of Children and Family Services. You can go to that website and you can put in the Child Care Center and pull that report up, number one. And it's also supposed to be available to you at the center. So if you're going into a center, looking at that report is very important.
What type of information does that report give you?
Well, there's minimum standards that daycare centers have to follow. And so that report will allow you to see what they're lacking in, if they've been out of compliance many times with ratios, which means that there's not enough teachers for the children that are there, which causes accidents. So that's important. You want to make sure that you're in a daycare center that's well staffed. Also, the health and safety of the facility. So if they are out of compliance in health and safety, that's a big red flag, obviously. You want to make sure that, the health inspection is up to date, because that means that they're washing their hands, which kids are,
They put everything
in their mouth. Yes, everything goes straight to the mouth, especially in those infant and toddler classes. So you want to make sure that they're properly sanitizing. So do several visits before you go, do pop-up visits and come in as a parent, because as a parent, you should be able to come and look through the observation windows or look at the monitors and see how your children are doing, and volunteer. Volunteering your child in the child care center, because that will also allow you to get to know them and see what they're doing. There's going to be challenges wherever you go, but there are definitely some that are better than others.
You mentioned just pop-up visits. Is that allowed? I mean, you just pop in the facility, you not have an appointment?
Yeah, that it is allowed with many centers. There's some that have tour times that are, especially after COVID, they put some of those things in place. But the majority of them, you can just come in and say, hi, I'd like a tour. I would try not to go during nap time hours, which are kind of 12 to 2, because you want to see the teachers interacting with the children. But do those visits. If it's a center that's not wanting you to do that, then, make an appointment. Go ahead and make an appointment, because childcare is unpredictable. So you can still see things that it can't be staged, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You're going to see things that you wouldn't see if you were going to do a tour at an apartment complex or something. It's not going to be perfect, but you want to see what's going on there before you put your children there, the interaction, how teachers get frustrated, especially if
just like parents.
Just like parents. Imagine having, 3 sets of triplets,
No, thank you.
Yeah. So, and also with childcare, you have to realize that there's no degree that's required to be in childcare, not in the state of Texas for sure. And a lot of other states, I've lived in Florida, Louisiana, there's a lot of states, Georgia, they don't require degrees. And so you have to realize that this is just a parent taking care of children who's getting education as they go along.
It's kind of like parenting.
It's kind of like parenting. They're learning.
Book that they hand you at the hospital.
There's no book. I say that all the time. I tell my kids parenting does not come with a handbook.
No.
So you just have to kind of trust your instincts. And if your child is happy there, then that's a big sign. Talk to other parents. Talk to other parents. Parents are a good source of referrals. If they've been there, their children are there, they're happy, then it's a good sign.
If there's some red flags there, if the kids are unhappy, you get them home, they haven't been napping, or they're not eating properly, those are big red flags, aren't they?
They are. And a lot of childcare centers, they get the federal food program. So they should be receiving snacks, breakfast, lunches. But you want to ask your children, what did they eat? A lot of them have these electronic programs now where you can actually monitor the children. Have you saw those yet?
No.
Oh gosh, you can take a look at the children. They'll send you pictures of them, what they're doing, what their day is like. That's a big comfort for parents also. So you can kind of log in and see how your children are doing. Some of them will allow you to actually look at the camera that's there in the classroom. So that's a big plus for parents. Technology is just changing every single day.
Every day.
Yeah. When I was in
childcare,
childcare, there was just a sheet that went home. Like, let me just give you this daily sheet, and it tells you what they're doing. But now you can actually be interactive and see. So I love that. Yeah.
To parents.
But childcare is definitely changing. The pricing is going up. I know some childcare centers who are charging $2,000 to $3,000 a month.
Ouch.
Yeah. And so how can you work as a parent if you're only receiving $3,000 a month and you have several children?
All you're doing is paying for childcare and not taking anything home.
Yeah.
Yvette, will you stick around? We've got lots of other questions.
Yeah.
We want to talk a little bit
sure.
more. All right. We'll be right back with more. We're back with Yvette Criner talking more about childcare and childcare brokering. And Yvette, we were talking before the break about technology and how far things have come.
Yes.
What are some other things that you've witnessed?
Yes. So childcare, for one, I think that every summer at one point, there was children that were passing away in vans and being left inside of vans. Mm-hmm. And I just couldn't understand, how are these children being left in vans? But now there's safety mechanisms that's required by the state, mm-hmm. To be put into those vans. That wasn't something that was there, 20 years ago. So, that's something that has evolved. There's sign-in processes to sign the children in and out that are not just on the paper, right. To keep better track of children and attendance in the classrooms. And, like I said, there's plenty of camera systems and tablets and things that are offered inside of the classrooms now for teachers to be able to share information, to send emails to parents, to be able to view the parents on camera. So, and then technology also with the children. This is an alpha generation.
Yes, and they completely get the technology.
I'm a new grandparent. My grandbaby is 7 months old, and he FaceTimes me.
At 7 months.
At 7 months, I asked my son, I said, is he FaceTime? Is he holding the phone, FaceTiming me? Because it was kind of going everywhere. And he was. I said, oh my God, he's FaceTiming me. 7 months old. So we're seeing a lot of technology being implemented a lot sooner. At 2 years old, children are being able to work with iPads, which are, equipping them for the future, because this is definitely a technology age.
Absolutely. We're not going back anytime.
Yeah.
We're just going to keep going forward.
Yeah.
We were talking a little bit about childcare and employing people that are in the childcare industry. How do you do that? Do you find it difficult? Because so many people are still looking for jobs, but they don't really know what to do.
Yes. Childcare is definitely it's a struggle to keep staff inside of childcare because of the lack of training. When I first started in childcare, being inside of a classroom with 18 children, and it was allowed, and just wanting to pull my hair out, just wanting to scream.
That's a lot.
Yes, it was a lot. And when you have someone who it's your first day, and now you're in a classroom with 12 children, mm-hmm. and you have diapers to change, noses to wipe, shoes to tie, and you have to teach them. Keep them safe, feed them, put them to sleep. It can be overwhelming. It's overwhelming.
If one cries, you're normally going to have 2 or 3 others that cry along with them.
Or if one starts misbehaving, if he gets up and decides to start running, then the whole classroom's running now. Mm-hmm. And they don't teach you classroom management initially. That's something that you have to continue to educate yourself with. In childcare, you have to have continuing education units. Every state has a different requirement, but yearly they have to have hours. And so one of the things that I do is I offer training and consulting in those areas. And so I'm in the process of opening up a school now.
I'm so excited to learn about this. Tell us more about the school.
It's called the Institute for Early Childhood Development, and it will offer up to associate degrees will be online. And so it will be accredited. And so we'll be specifically targeting childcare workers, people who want to work in the field, and not just a 6-week program or a 4-day training class, but real teaching so that they can take deep dives into how to deal with behavioral issues. Special needs. Special needs is one of those things parents constantly have a hard time finding care for.
Mhm.
And childcare workers are really not trained for special needs.
Right.
And it's from 0 to 3 is the foundation. You want to catch it early. Early intervention is something that is very important for you to be able to handle those, difficulties later in life. But what we see is that we take a look at it as, the child is just misbehaving, and that's not the case.
Mhm.
And the child's not listening. The child's just kind of all over the place instead of getting the help that's needed, which is the proper training, getting an intervention services involved. And we can't diagnose anybody because we're not doctors.
Medical professionals.
Yeah. But sometimes we're the first people to see that. We're the first people to see because we know the ages and stages of development.
Have there been other schools? Because I'm not familiar. My grandmother kept kids in her home
Yes.
for years,
Yes.
probably
Yes.
30 plus years, and had 10 of her own. But she was by no means an expert. It was just what she had learned through the years. Have there been other schools, or is this the first of its kind?
There's not one that I'm familiar with. I have been researching online.
You're breaking ground with this.
I don't know if I'll be the first, but I'm definitely will be one of the few. Yes, so it's groundbreaking definitely in the Texas area. There's colleges that you can go and take these classes at, but there's not a college that specializes in early childhood. So
and the fact that they're going to walk away with an associate's degree.
Yes.
And they will have the knowledge going in and taking care of kids.
Yes. I'm excited about that. It's something that I wanted to do, but being a mother, a wife, and a owner of a business at 19, it wasn't something that I was able to do, was to go back and get further education. So I had to get my education kind of as I went along. Mm-hmm. But this will be a program where they'll be able to also have a work program where they're able to work and go to school at the same time, because they'll be able to take what they're learning, the education that they're learning, and be able to apply it in the classroom. So we'll be partnering with different childcare centers to be able to offer work programs for them to be able to go and get paid internship.
That's got to be comforting.
Yeah.
For parents.
As a grandmother now, I'm like, where's he going to daycare? Did you guys check the records? What's the training? Did they, so I want to be able to offer parents. I have 4 children myself, all adults now, but that was a big thing for me, was where even I had some children myself, 2 of the children of my children. I won't say any names, but it was the first one and the one that's the second to the last. I didn't have them at my childcare center with me because they were spoiled. They were spoiled and I wasn't able to do my job. So I went through that journey of looking for childcare myself too, and I looked for things that were important and how are they prepared to teach my children was one of them. We worry about the quality of the care, but what about the education? Because now we have children that are entering 3rd grade and not passing the state exams. They're behind. So, and Texas is really great about pushing that. They're really great about funding that, the education for early childhood.
And don't you find that kids, 0 to 3, as you were saying, they're so prime for learning.
Yes.
They're like little sponges.
Yes, they can learn a foreign language or 2 or 3 before they're 3. They're just ready to learn everything. So they're like little sponges. Most of their development is already made in their brain by the time they're in kindergarten. So we want to make sure that they have their alphabets, their numbers, their colors, but now it's learning technology.
Yeah.
Now it's reading by the time you're in kindergarten. There's no more naps in kindergarten.
No.
And there's a big push now for 3 and 4-year-olds to be in the school system, which is another thing. It takes away from the childcare centers. So now we have a lot of childcare centers that are going out of business because the school systems are taking the 3 and 4-year-olds, but it's because of the lack of education that they're getting inside of the childcare centers.
But your school could change all of that,
so
you're hoping.
That's what we're hoping. That's the mission. That's the goal, to be able to educate the teachers, to be able to educate the children.
So where can folks find out more information about you? Perhaps they've got a child care center. They want to talk to you and your journey, or even find out more about the school.
They can go to childcaresalesandconsulting.com. That's our website. We also have social media. The Facebook and Instagram are all the same.
Well, we appreciate you coming on today and enlightening us, and hopefully more parents out there won't be like you and I were going, what do I do with my kids? They'll have the answers right in front of them because of what you're doing. We appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you.
And thanks for joining us for BizTV. For joining me today for BizTV's Create, Build, Manage. Episodes of Create, Build, Manage are available on demand on the free BizTV streaming app. Visit watch.biztv.com and get BizTV programming anytime, anywhere. Stay tuned to BizTV for more stories that educate, enlighten, and empower.